What I'm about to tell you is the story of a murder case that took almost 30 years to solve. It's really difficult to even think about it, so just think about it for a second. And such a cases like that exists in this world. And I'm gonna tell you an interesting fact from the beginning. For nearly 3 decades, investigations had the killer's DNA, but they had completely no idea whose DNA it was. And I'm not joking, it really happened before, and I'm gonna tell you the whole story. Mandy Stavik was only 80 years old and she just graduated from high school. She just started her first year at Central Washington University. Like many college students, she just came back home for Thanksgiving break. And on November 22, she just came back home with her roommate, Yuko. So we have Yuko here. And they were driven back by Mandy's ex-boyfriend, Rick Zender. Well, that afternoon was really fine for her because she visited her old high school, she saw her friends, and she watched the basketball team practice. Everything is really fine for now. Well, the next day was Thanksgiving, and according to family, she never left home that day, and she was with her family and she spent her time with them. And the next day, November 24, Mandy spent part of her morning with her roommate to make some plans, and it was really normal because she was supposed to meet several friends, including a young man who was Tom Bass. And actually, it's really important because I want you to keep this name in your mind. It's gonna be really important later. And he's not the killer, I promise. Later that afternoon, Mandy decided to go for a run, and it was really usual for her because she ran regularly, and the family's German Shepherd, Kara, went with her. And her route was familiar. It actually followed Strand Road toward the Nooksack River before looping back toward home. Well, around 3 p.m., several witnesses saw her running back in the direction of her house, so she was really close. And according to some witnesses, she was maybe minutes away from getting home, but you can guess she never got there. A few hours later, Kara returned home alone without Mandy, and she was really terrified. Actually, she was scared, and when they saw the dog, her tail was tucked between her legs and part of her body were covered in river mud. So that was the moment when her family actually realized that it's not right and something is really wrong. So they started to calling friends, neighbors, and whoever they could. Well, during the search, investigators found something unusual near the road, so it can be really interesting here. There was a disturbed area of ground, flattened grass, and footprints, and mud similar to what had been found on Kara. It looked like some kind of a struggle may happen there, but well, nobody was sure about it and they couldn't find any evidence. 3 days later, on November 27, the outcome everyone feared became reality. Mandy's body was found in the Nooksack River. She was nearly naked, but somehow her shoes were still on. Well, the discovery raised more questions than answers, and even the investigators couldn't determine exactly where she had been attacked, where she had been sexually assaulted, or where she had entered the river. And I think the biggest problem in this case is the lack of scene crime. As you can see, there is nothing. The following day, an autopsy was performed. The medical examiner found numerous scratches across Mandy's body. The injuries showed that she had moved through a thick brush when she was still alive, maybe when she was trying to escape. There was also a serious blunt force injury to the right side of her forehead, and I think it must be there, and so it is important. A blow powerful enough to cause a significant concussion. Then investigators discovered something that would be the most important piece or evidence in the entire case. And guess what? Semen was found during the examination. Now it has a meaning. And that means now investigators had DNA from an unknown male. That's a good news. Mandy's official cause of death was ruled freshwater drowning. And based off the evidence, investigators believe that she died sometime between 3:30 or 4:30 that afternoon, and they're not sure about that. Here's what makes this case so frustrating. Many people assume that police had no evidence, but the truth is opposite. Investigators had DNA from the very beginning, but the problem was that this was 1989 and the modern DNA databases didn't exist. The technology was really different from what we have right now, and it's really obvious. They had the DNA, they just didn't know the name. Well, let's just move forward a bit. Years passed and police investigated multiple suspects. They did anything you can imagine. They looked at Mandy's ex-boyfriend. They looked at people who had been seen near to the area that day. Also, the DNA samples were collected. Suspects were eliminated, and as you can see and you can guess, nothing matched at all. Investigators even consulted members of the Green River Killer Task Force to see whether Mandy's murder could be connected to another now serial killer. And it wasn't. Around 30 local men voluntarily provided their DNA samples and none of them matched. Slowly, the case went cold and the 1990s came and went. In 2009, nearly 20 years after the murder, Detective Kevin Bohe reopened the investigation. He went back through the evidence and reviewed forgotten leads. He even revisited the people who had been already investigated. And most importantly, he began collecting new DNA samples. Over time, investigators gathered more than 80 additional DNA from the people connected to that area, and still nothing. Then attention slowly shifted toward a man named Timothy Beth, and this is when everything gets more interesting because do you remember Tom Beth? The friend Mandy was supposed to meet and spend time on the night she disappeared. Yes, this is Tom Beth's older brother, and I'm gonna tell you something more interesting. He grew up in the same community, his family knew Mandy's family, and perhaps most importantly, he lived extremely near to the Mandy's running route. Yet somehow he had never become the major face of the original investigation. On the surface, Timothy looked ordinary and he had a job, he had a family, and he didn't appear to be the kind of person investigators were looking for. But years later, and finally, police approached him and requested a DNA sample. But he refused. He told them that he's not gonna do that unless they obtained a warrant. You may not believe that, but he even refused and denied that he knew Mandy, and it's like he didn't know Mandy at all. And in 2015, investigators contact him again, and after that, his behavior began raising concerns. I told you that he denied knowing Mandy at all, but suddenly Timothy claimed that he had a secretly sexual relationship with Mandy years earlier. And what changed? Why he would say that after he just denied earlier? What do you think about it? And the funny part is that he even told his brother Tom Bath to tell police that he had also been involved with Mandy. I mean, who would believe such a joke like that? Well, of course, he was trying to make explanation for why his DNA might appear in the case. It's obvious. According to testimony, he even suggested police that they should consider his deceased father as a suspect. Why would he do that? And meanwhile, the investigators were becoming increasingly suspicious. They still needed Timothy's DNA to prove whatever they are fighting for. Then an unexpected break happened here, and I can call this my favorite part of the whole case because Timothy worked as a delivery driver for Friend's Bakery, and a manager named Kim Wagner became aware of the investigation. Also, one day, Timothy just drank from a plastic cup and threw it away. But after a few days, he threw away a soda can, and you can't even guess what happened. Kim Wagner kept both items, and smart move. I really admire what she did. Eventually, they were turned over to investigators and sent to a crime laboratory. And the results were exactly what police had spent nearly 28 years waiting for. The DNA recovered from the soda can and plastic cup matched the same male DNA recovered from the Mandy's bodies in 1989. After almost 3 decades, investigators had a name: Timothy Bath. Timothy Bath was arrested on December 12, 2017, and even after his arrest, he insisted he was innocent. His explanation was simple, and he claimed that the DNA belonged to him because he and Mandy had secretly been involved years earlier, and of course no one believes that, and even the investigators found nothing to support that story. In 2019, a jury found Timothy Bass guilty of a first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to a 320 months in prison. Finally, nearly 30 years after Mandy disappeared during what should have been a routine afternoon run, her family got an answer. So let me know what you think about this case, and if you want more cases like this, just subscribe my YouTube channel, and welcome to Miss Homicide.